the Drop 'em 78 challenge? I've been talking about it for 4 years, and it's evolved a little bit. The way I talk about it, at least, has evolved. At its most basic, the Drop 'em 78 challenge is an invitation to commit ourselves to a single tarot deck and to go through that deck one card at a time, one day at a time, for 78 days, 2.5 months, starting on October 15th with the Ace of Pentacles and ending on December 31st with the World card. In the Drop 'em 78 challenge, we're going through our tarot deck in a very specific way. We begin with the Pentacles. Drop anchor with the Pentacles. That D in Drop 'em stands for dropping anchor. We begin with that embodied suit, that sense of our physical presence, that sense of our creaturely existence in this world that has been given to us, that we find ourselves in, this Garden of Eden and all of its fallen foibles, right? We drop anchor with the Pentacles, with the Earth. And then we move into that responsive quality of the wands, of the suit of fire. So the R in Drop 'em stands for respond with the wands. From that responding to this world in which we find ourselves, from that fire suit of the wands, we move into water with the cups. The O in Drop 'em stands for open, open with the cups. Right? That sense of the heart opening, of our flowing, our emotional, our watery nature. And then we move from that open quality of the water to that expansive, comprehensive, penetrating quality of air. The air that holds the whole of our world in its embrace, but also that air that moves through the nooks and crannies of the world. The air that is the suit of swords. So the P of Drop 'em stands for pierce through with the swords. And then we end with manifestation, with the M of the majors, of manifesting with the majors. What makes the Drop 'em 78, I think, such a powerful practice, at least for me, is my invitation to use a simple format as I consider my card for the day every day. In the past, I've talked about that format in terms of 3 dimensions, the 3D aspect of Drop 'em 78. I've talked about definition, detail, and discovery. This year, I'm adding a 4th D, which was implicit all along, but now I want to make it explicit. The 4th D is day. I'm going to talk about this all in a second. So the 4 Ds, right? When we're posting or journaling or considering our card for the day, the very first thing is to consider the meaning of the card. If it's the Ace of Pentacles, what do we know about the Ace of Pentacles? What do we already know from our previous study, from looking in a guidebook, from taking class, from hanging out with other tarot readings, from looking things up online? What do we already know? Or what can we find out if we don't know anything, if we're just starting out? What do we know about the definition of this card? That's D1. The second dimension, D2, is detail. So here the invitation is very precise. It says, looking at this specific card, let me notice a detail that I haven't noticed before. And what does that detail tell me now in this moment about this card that I maybe didn't think of before? So one classic example might be to look at the 9 of Pentacles and to say, oh, look, there's a snail in the bottom of this image. There's something about this card, about the meanings of abundance or luxury or cultivating my own garden or just being in that place where I have reached a field of abundance and plenty, and I can rest content in the fruits of my labor. There's something about this card that's about slowing down. Can I slow down? So notice how in my discussion just now, I gave us both the D1, the definition of the card, thinking about it as a card that's about luxury, about cultivating a garden, whatever I already know about the card or might look up, taking the opportunity of the Drop 'em 78 to find out. But then I've considered this detail, the snail, and it's added to my reading. Slow down. Now, that's D1, definition, D2, detail, D3. So this is the new D that I've added this year, but it's been implicit all along, and that is day. Today, in this day, how is this day a Nine of Pentacles day, and how does the Nine of Pentacles help me understand my life today? With D3, I am explicitly considering this card in the context not of its definition, not of a specific detail, but of today, of the day upon which I am considering it. So today, let me think about today. Actually, today is a day, literally today, as I make this video, is a day that I haven't had a lot that I had to do. It's very unusual in the life of Esty not to have a bazillion things on my calendar. I've had no set meetings. I have nothing due for my counseling program. I'm up to date and being in touch with my clients and my students. Wow. Today is Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is the spaciousness of my life. Okay. If you are new to Drop 'em 78, or if you're taking on a tarot deck that is really challenging, that requires a lot of your energy, or if you just want to, like the snail in the Nine of Pentacles, if you just want to slow down, that's where you should stop. D1, definition, D2, detail, D3, day. That is your Drop 'em 78 post. But you also have an option to go to D4. D4. To go to DEFCON 4. To go to D4, which is discovery. In discovery, the encouragement is to bring in another deck, or even another divination system if you want. If you've been working with charms, or you've been working with geomancy, or you've been working with dice, or whatever it is. Or maybe another kind of card, like a Lenormand deck or an oracle deck. In the discovery portion, that's where we work with what I call calibration, where you have a side piece deck, let's say, or a side piece divinatory system that you are going to be pulling either apples to apples, if it's another tarot deck, so another Nine of Pentacles from another deck, or maybe it's apples to oranges. If you're working with another deck or another divinatory system, you're bringing in something that's not the direct analog, Nine of Pentacles, but maybe you're pulling a card randomly from another tarot deck, from your side piece deck, or maybe you're throwing the dice, or casting charms, or pulling a Lenormand card. Whatever it is, it's not the direct analog. It's not apples to apples, it's apples to oranges, right? So in this form, the D4, like this kind of work, this calibrating work, the D4 discovery is a place to really open up the intuition to making connections that are not as, what do I want to say, not as obvious, maybe a little subtle, maybe really kind of opening the heart, opening the field, and inviting ourselves to say, okay, the Nine of Pentacles in relation to this other deck. Now, the only thing I ask you is if you do D4, if you decide that you want to do a discovery portion for your posts, commit yourself to that side piece, other deck or other divinatory system. Commit yourself to that one side piece for the entirety of the 78 days. In other words, you can be really polyamorous. You can have another member. You can have a throuple, but let's keep the throuple connection strong. And to be very, very clear that the main deck, right, your Drop 'em deck, that's the deck that you're really focusing your attention on. Whatever you're pulling from another piece, right? That's to help illuminate. That's to calibrate your main deck. So, Drop 'em 78, D1, definition, D2, detail, D3, day. How does your day get informed by this card? How does the card inform your day? And then, if it's not your very first time doing Drop 'em 78, maybe have a side piece and do D4, discovery. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Thank you for your practice.